remember the massive relief when the show finally sort of started to air, and because it was a really tough one to explain or to give the tagline for, or, you know, sum this up in 3 words. I think it's sort of, it always, right from the start, really defined genres, you know. So I'm relieved people have seen it now, and the question's about details. I always think it's interesting, and especially in TV, when you've got, like, you know, a while to go, that you take your character to, like, the complete opposite of where she is. And I think the opposite of where Olivia is would be potentially to, like, become more of the maternal figure to these 2 little lost boys, you know, which I really do think Peter and Walter kind of are. So I'm sort of, I know that they're inevitably going to become a family. I'm just not sure which part they're all going to play.
This is Fringe. If we don't do gore, we're not even trying. 20 minutes ago, I watched a man be shot in the head at point blank range. Now that's fringy. And not only do I not get grossed out, this is like a bad thing that actors do sometimes. We start to think that since we're invincible on camera, like all of a sudden nothing is terrifying me anymore. You know, like a guy getting shot in the head, that should just always be bad. But, you know, you're sitting around eating a sandwich, drinking your Coke, you're like, and action, boom, meh. You know, that's how it goes.
It doesn't gross Walter out. That's what he does. And so from my point of view, it doesn't gross me out either. And I'm not, you know, I think if it was John and I was actually hurting people, that would be a different story. But mainly I deal with dead people, you know. And the damage that Walter's done to Peter and to Olivia, then he's going to spend, how many seasons do I have to try and make retribution there? And that's a journey that I take. And I know that we can sustain Walter's regeneration for a long time. There's a lot of repair work to do. Our policy is to try and create shows that stand alone, as well as continuing our mythology. So what we do is we'll give you some standalone adventures, but in the middle of that you're going to see the continued development of the characters. You will see, for example, Walter have a love interest, which is the last thing any of us expected to do. You know, that'll happen. Something from the past. That's a little tease. No one else knows that one.
You know, season 1 of Fringe was very much an introduction into the weirdness and the idea of these alternate realities and the notion of Walter and Peter and sort of alluding to what their history was and understanding that, you know, Olivia that her past connects her to this in a sort of inextricable way. I think season 2 is very much the consequence of those things and the deepening of those and those things playing out.
You know, actors are they're like zoo animals, you know, don't feed the animals. What do we need to know? They just give us the words, we say the words, it's fine.
You get to have a little bit more about how Peter came to be where he is. There was a hint at the end of last season when we went to a gravesite. You're going to get a scene or two in about that. You're going to see William Bell back in big time, you know. Nemo. You're going to see him back in very big episode 4. There's plenty in there. It's great. I mean, the scripts have been fantastic. But we will continue to try and give people a show that they can understand if they only watch one every now and again. That's our challenge.